3. Welcome to the review. Today we're talking about The Perks of Being a Wallflower. One of my favorite films, I must say. Has Emma Watson. It's a great acts now, I must say.
Yeah.
What was your opinion on this film now?
I thought it was great. Like the first time watching it, and I was like it started out. To me, it started out a bit slow, and I was like, okay, and then it like started getting into it, and at the end, it literally like picked up so much. Like it went from like 50 to like 1,000,000. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was like, whoa, yeah, it was mad.
It's such a good story. I think having like the fella who wrote the book, Stephen Chobsky, I don't really know.
He directed it, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's so cool. That, like I feel like you never really see that. Like the person who wrote the book directed the film.
Yeah.
I think that's what made it so good. Like because he had the exact for it.
I was just about to say, you know, there's nearly always the book is like not always, but like the book is nearly always better than the film, like especially for detail and stuff like that. But like this is one of those movies that like completely lives up to expectation. Like it's so well adapted. Like they actually couldn't have made it any better, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it could have been any better. And it's like you're saying, like it's probably because the fellow who
He directed it. Yeah, definitely.
Usually, like people who write the books have like very little or no involvement in like the making of the film, which doesn't really make it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's clearly their story, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah.
I like that they made the choice to add in like the narration of the main character a lot. Like that really turned it up a lot, I think. Like that made it like really good.
Definitely.
You get so invested
because he's so like introverted as well that like you hear his thoughts rather than like him talking to people.
Yeah.
I think because you can hear his thoughts and his point of view and everything, you get so invested in him, like.
Yeah,
definitely. And the acting, like all the actors are just fantastic in it, like.
Yeah. I always find
go on, sorry.
A great crowd of people for every like shot as well. Like there's always students in the hallways or like even like when they're watching the football game, there's about 500 people just in the audience there, or just like being extras and stuff, and I'm just like the huge amount of effort goes into it. Like
it was all very realistic. Like sometimes with like high school scenes and movies, in any movies they kind of like overdo it. I don't know what they make it like really kind of not like school at all.
Yeah.
But this was so realistic, I think. Yeah.
I think it was so well cast. Like Ezra Miller, Logan Lerman, Emma Watson. Like I don't think, you know, sometimes you're watching movies and you think of actors that would have been better played. I honestly couldn't think of how they couldn't have cast it better, honestly.
Even like smaller parts, like the teacher Paul Rudd, like
good.
So
good.
Like,
main character right there.
Then being like the therapist later on, it just everyone's role made so much sense, even if they were small roles. They were just so, and even like Nina Dobrev as a sister. I never really see her in anything, but I think she was really good in this.
I completely forgot she was a sister in it. I also forgot his mother is I don't know if you watch Grey's Anatomy, but his mother is Allison, from Grey's Anatomy. Actually, mad.
In like everything she's in, she's so underrated.
She's the mother in 13 Reasons Why.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, Mrs. Baker, like
very good in that.
Really good in that.
Yeah. The acting is just.
I forget who played the aunt. No, actually,
She was in 2.5 Men. I can't remember her.
Who?
You know who played the aunt?
The aunt.
Aunt Helen.
Aunt Helen.
2.5 Men. She rose in 2.5 Men. Remember, she was kind of a psycho who was just obsessed with Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a recurring character in 2.5 Men.
No,
as in like one of the
of
main characters, like.
Yeah, no. She was always there, like in the old 2.5 Men. Yeah.
Oh, lads, we accept the love we think we deserve.
Oh my god.
Oh,
this teacher says it's just like it's almost like Paul Rudd is like future him or something like this, like.
That's what I got from it as well.
Yeah, literally, like he's like, I know exactly where you are. I was exactly like you, and things are gonna get so much better. Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, he just knew it was just so lovely. Like, yeah.
Is this based on a real story, like, of the writer? Who was it again? Who wrote it?
Stephen Chobsky. I'm not sure. I'll look it up now. Hang on.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I do.
know much about. I never read the book.
It could
Now.
be like autobiographical or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because I never really clicked, but I was like, oh, the writer of the author Stephen was writing, and then the character wants to be a writer. I was like, oh yeah,
That makes sense.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if that's the case.
Charlie was loosely based on Chobsky himself in the novel, and he included much of his own memories from the times he lived in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Oh
So
my
yeah,
god.
you're right. The character was like kind of based around him, and like you can
That's
see
mad.
like writing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit too in depth to not be somewhat personal to him. Like,
Yeah, there's great
Definitely,
detail in
yeah.
all of it. Like, my favorite scene from it now actually is when so they're on the so many. There's the driving scene and there's the
tunnel.
the tunnel,
tunnel scene.
and then there's the one where he's at his I think it's a prom. And, he's at like the wall, and the lads are just popping on the dance floor, and then he just kind of gets into the beat a little bit as the music kind of rises, and
Oh
then he
yeah.
comes and joins them on the dance floor, and it's just there's no like
Yeah.
dialogue or anything.
He
It's
went
just,
to the high school dance and he was just standing at the wall the whole time, and then
Yeah.
Come On Eileen comes on.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
They would join in with Sam and Patrick. Yeah, that was brilliant.
I feel like that's the most like requested song at a wedding as well. So it's kind of like
Oh yeah.
you can relate to like an aunt dragging you onto the floor or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I think it's
Um,
very. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. No, you go.
I think it's like very relatable in the sense of like, you know, school. Like no one knows who they are in school, and everyone just kind of trying to fit in, and you know they don't really know who they are, and everyone's just trying to find themselves and stuff. I think that's why it's kind of like one of those timeless movies that anyone from any like age or generation can kind of somewhat kind of connect to that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Even like
Um,
his sister like doesn't let him join them, and even like he knew some people, but he couldn't talk to them because they were like unpopular. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah, that was really sad, but it was kind of like that happens as well. Like it's so like
Yeah.
it was very realistic. Like I think like I was saying earlier, a lot of time when people do like stuff in school or like about teenagers, it can just be so like corny and so cheesy, and they just overdo
Yeah.
like clothes and like dialogue and like even the settings of school. Sometimes like no school looks like that, or nobody acts like that. But
Yeah.
they, like, spot on. Like it was more realistic than like any other kind of teen or like coming of age movie
Definitely.
than you'd see.
mm,
And like even like his character development is like unbelievable. It's kind of like he does everything himself because he wants to so badly to like, even though it like
Yeah.
he's like talking to people, he's really antisocial.
Yeah.
He says from the start, he's like, I want to like get in this year and I want to participate this year. And like every time he's trying so hard, and it's like he eventually like gets there. It's lovely. Like yeah.
mm. The lad who plays or what's it? Nothing. I don't know his actual name. I can't remember.
Yeah, Patrick was his name. yeah.
Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
What a character! What a character! So good.
That could have been a film on its own. Like even his story.
Yeah.
I always say he was robbed. I don't know how he didn't get some kind of.
Actually, that
Yeah.
shows kind of the time period as well.
He was robbed for best supporting actor.
Yeah, he was a. That was just
Yeah.
such an unreal like character. Just to like
Yeah.
such a friend to everyone. Do you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Don't just get invested in the main character. Like everyone's character has like something that could be like their own standalone film. Even like when Sam tells him when they're talking about like first kisses, and she's like, "Oh, I had mine when I was 11." And he's like, "Oh, is it like your friend?" She's like, "No, it was like my dad's friend."
That
And
was mad.
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking. Like, and then like with Patrick, like, and he's
Yeah.
trying to cut, and it shows like the times. Well, obviously, like that still happens. You know, there's certain people who like it's probably easier to come out now, but not for like everyone. Obviously, it's not like the easiest thing in the world, but especially like
Yeah.
in the early 90s and stuff. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't be gay in school, like at all.
Yeah. I know. Sam and Charlie, like, kind of. I remember, like, the first time I watched it, I didn't really I did understand it, but when I watched it, like, now that I've watched it a few times, they, like, kind of, like, trauma bond it, like, almost, because, you know, that scene where she says about her uncle and stuff and what he had gone through, And he says it in the last scene, you know, like, oh, we've been through the same stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was mad.
What was crazy to me was when they got Charlie high, and then
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and then Sam was talking to him, and she was like, "Oh, where's your friend now?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, he shot himself." And she was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." You know, I was like, "Oh Jesus!" Like this film's a bit darker than I thought. Like,
Yeah. And then he was like, "Where's?" It was when he was like, "Where's the bathroom?" She was like, "Oh, it's upstairs." And he's like, "Thanks, it's so nice." And he just got up. Then I was like, "Oh my god."
yeah,
So cute. Yeah, I love
the music.
like shot really well and everything as well. Like especially
David Bowie.
when it's known in the end and everything. It was really well done. I thought the costume and everything was like really nice, like for the 90s, like and everything.
Yeah,
100%. And they couldn't have possibly picked a better song for the tunnel scene.
Oh my god.
David Bowie,
What
couldn't have.
What was
So
it?
David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Pretty Through the Heroes.
Yeah.
Like, is that the name? Is that the name of the song, or is it?
Heroes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, they even actually, I think it must have been like if that, like obviously that movie came out like 2012, so I wouldn't really remember when it came out. But I think people in the like a couple of years above us, Adam, I don't know if you remember, but they did that a couple of years for like school mass. The whole choir like sang that song.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Like pictures always
so
did it like a
sad.
couple of years in a row. But it is such a good song. Like it's just the whole soundtrack, like even like the Smiths, Asleep, and everything. It's just like
Yeah.
It's really
Come on,
good.
Eileen, like so good. Such a great soundtrack to put to such a like. It was just it fit the vibe perfectly of the film.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Everything just fit. Like the characters' relationships, the costume, the cinematography, everything was just perfect. Like
I love.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
Do
go on.
you remember where they did like he was gonna ask Emma Watson to go out with him, and he took LSD on that night, and then Cloud shoved the snow in the drive-thru, and he's like, "I saw a tree, but it was a dragon," and then she just hugs him or something, and she's like, "No, you're okay, like."
oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god.
The funniest thing was when, and it was kind of like that happened a lot in school as well, when he says yes to wants to dance with Mary Elizabeth, and she literally like kisses him once, and she's like, "I can't believe you're my boyfriend," and he's just like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
I feel like that's happened to a lot of people in school as well. We're like, do you know when you'd be like 14 or 15 and like somebody kisses you and they'd be like, "Oh, you're going out," and you'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
It was so bad how he broke it off with her as well in it. Like that scene where she was like, it was cool how they did it, and they were like, he had the options, and he was like, he said truth, and he was like, "I don't like Mary Elizabeth" or something, and then it like flashed back, and he was like, "Okay, I'll go dare," and he just kissed the most prettiest person in the room, and he didn't kiss his girlfriend. Like it's just what.
No, when he's like, what does he say? He says something like, "Oh, I keep thinking." They don't realize that what he's talking about. But he's like, "Oh, I keep thinking someone is dying of cancer, so something instead of going out with her or something like that."
They were like, "That was one of Mary Elizabeth. It's so bad that I keep imagining that one of us is dying of cancer, so that I get over soon."
Or even I think he put down the phone when she was talking. Went down to the kitchen. It's like she's still on the phone. Yeah, it's like we know a few people who just rant on the phone and you just don't get a word and like.
And he's not. Like, you have to break up with her. He's like, "I can do that. I can actually break up with her."
Yeah. Oh, I think the bit as well, where what does he do? When they break up and Mary Elizabeth comes up to him and is like, "Oh, I'm with this new guy," and stuff like that. And she's like, "I hope you're not upset." And he's just like,
obviously you're not like kissing when we were together.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, it was just so like even like that. Like there's even comedy. Like there's everything in it. Like
there is such a good sense of humor where you can see like the progression of their relationship, and he's like, "I'm sick of feeling her boobs."
Yeah. I'm so tired of going out. They're like, "I don't even like those boobs anymore."
Yeah.
That's a great part. Yeah. That whole arc was just comedy of him, and then it was so sad. Like when he did that to her, and then they all just like stopped talking to him, and then
I felt so sad.
That whole situation happened, and then
Yeah.
What's his name?
Patrick.
Nothing. Patrick, yeah. Patrick and his boyfriend like had a big fucking problem there as well with the father finding out.
Yeah.
You know, everything seemed to fall apart at once,
Yeah.
nearly. Like
Yeah.
everything that everyone had was falling apart, and then like it was saved in the the canteen.
Yeah, he just
That scene where they
just wanted, like, kind of got tunnel vision and just wanted to tear the fellas off him. And
Yeah.
and even when when it goes down, everything just blacks out, and all of a sudden the two lads are on the ground, and it's just bruises all over his hand. It's like,
that was crazy. That's like,
so well done. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and he said, then touch my friends, I'll blind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like he doesn't even know what he's done, but he's like, okay. Yeah.
Crazy.
It was so good. I think it was so good. I think having all the characters around him, especially like when him and Mary Elizabeth are going out, having like the whole contrast of like their personalities, like being polar opposite, just kind of showed us more. Okay, this is how innocent he actually is. Like,
Yeah.
there's like all the rest of them seem like normal high school kids. We see like, no, he actually has a completely different mindset to everyone around him, and that's what kind of like isolates him even more. Like,
I always cry at the scene, you know, when they're in the bedroom before before Sam leaves, and he, you know, he says like about when he never told her how he felt and stuff, and she says like, oh, you need to stop pouring love into other people or something like that. I don't know, I felt, because you can see he's such a people pleaser throughout the whole movie, like, and you know, I thought that was such a sweet scene.
Yeah.
It is really like, yeah.
The whole thing with the record, the something record from the Beatles.
Oh, I love it.
I was like, I know it's such a good song. But like the whole arc, I didn't realize it until it showed up, obviously, with the aunt, and I was like, no way! Like that was his gift, wasn't it, from his aunt before she was killed, or whatever.
Yeah. That was why he thought
so
it was
bad.
Yeah.
His fault. That scene when he rang his sister and he was like, it was my fault, wasn't it? And she was like, just didn't even think about it. She was like, she just told her friend, get the cops to my house now. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, no way.
Yeah, for such a small part, I thought she was really good, especially in that scene. Like, just the panic, you feel her panic straight away, like, when she just knows, and you're like,
yeah.
And the way like, you know, throughout it, you think he's just, he's a nice, innocent kid, you know, that's it, he's just quiet. And then you realize, oh God, he has like huge trauma about him, like, you know,
child abuse, like,
crazy.
It is awful.
Yeah, definitely. You can see, like, you know, what he is, the way he is from what he's gone through and stuff. But I thought, just like the way they portrayed it, like his thoughts and everything, it just gives you such a better understanding, like, in depth of like what he was going through.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think of the ending scene, actually? When
actually, I always cry. Like, I always cry.
It's like kind of finishes with the tunnel, you know. It's just it's, you know, like it
comes like full circle.
Yeah.
Really,
like, bring back his favorite moment, you know. It's like, had to be done.
Yeah. It is. It's great the way they showed him like getting better and stuff afterwards. Yeah. And I thought Joe Hughes, like, even though she's such a small part, it was just so. No, at the same time, no one else could have been as good. Like, like,
so good.
Fantastic, like, I discovered her, and she's like, I'm 6, and he's like, he's almost like excited, not excited to see her, but he's like, no, can't, like, no, I'm glad I'm getting better, kind of. And she's so.
Yeah, and she says something like.
Yeah, that's
really good. Something like, oh, what is it? You can't choose where you came from, but you can choose from where you go from here, or something like that.
You can't like change what happened to you, but you can go somewhere else. Something long, I can't remember. Yeah. It's brilliant. So those little things that you can say kind of are really good.
Yeah, definitely. I think the end scene as well. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was just saying that, like, they just had like little things throughout the script. Like, they didn't go overboard with dialogue and have like big massive monologues, or like, you know,
definitely
make diagonal points out of everything. But it was so effective anyway by just having
they had
think through.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. They had like these short little quotes that, like, when you actually like think about it, are so impactful. Like, They're just like, it seems like it's only a sentence, but like it's actually very true and impactful what is being said.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love the.
Oh yeah. You go ahead.
I love the character development in it. Like not even just the main character, but
Everyone.
you know, Sam and just everyone, like how they just developed over time, and like Sam found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her the whole time, and then you have like, you know,
Or getting into
what's his name, the lad again, Patrick. There's always in these movies, I've noticed there's always someone I just forget their name completely. But Patrick, like his relationship with your man just completely blew over, and like he stood up to him and he was like, "Why don't you tell him what happened? Where you actually got like all those bruises from and everything."
Yeah.
It's just like crazy character development throughout the whole film from most characters in it.
Yeah.
You know.
Everyone kind of finds their own way of like getting better or whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny when what's his the sister's boyfriend, he kept
there.
he kept making like the mixes.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Just like he's like, oh yeah, the brother just kept listening to him. And he'd be like listening to like the love songs and like the messages you leave for his sister. And like,
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a bit weird now. I thought in general.
Yeah, the sister's like he makes one every week.
Yeah. And even at the end of the year, what was it? Patrick put on. He painted all the tools in the classroom as like a prank. He was like
spray painted all the tools in woodwork pink.
Yeah.
So good.
I wish we did that in Palace.
Yeah, no, when I watched it I was like, why didn't we do that? Like we would have been killed.
Pranks are always so bad.
No, we would have been killed if we did it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, the music, the actors, and even the theme of it was really good.
And even though I know this might sound strange, but you know when you watch like a movie like that brings up like themes about that kind of thing, like child abuse or anything like that, or like just even sad movies in general.
Yeah.
It is really sad, but they did it in such a way that like you could still go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too like graphic or anything.
Like, oh no, I can't watch that again now.
Yeah.
Still actually go back to and watch again, like.
It's a nice way to like. Sorry, go on.
Oh, go on.
It's a nice way to like portray like touchy subjects like that, so you can go back and watch it again. So there's some movies that you'll be like, oh, that was a bit too hard to watch now. That you kind of watch it once, and even if it was a good movie, you probably just wouldn't go back just because of the nature of it. But yeah, it was very well done.
What would you give it out of 10?
I'd probably give it like I'd probably give it like an 8 or 9. I'd say it was really up there, like really good. I think the ending carried it home properly, like because as I said, I thought the pacing at the start was like very fast, how he made friends and everything, considering his character, but it was still like the ending really drove it home, and like realizing that all of this stuff was happening to him in the background was crazy, you know.
Yeah. It makes it like a different experience than when you watch it and knowing everything.
Yeah, probably does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
What do you think, Kelly?
Sorry, Kelly, go on.
No, you go on.
Like, you know when you're in class and someone answers and they're like, "It's your name."
Yeah.
Go on, anyway.
I would definitely give it a 10. I think I'm biased though, just because I love it so much, and the ending scene always just like, I don't know, it gives me this weird like nostalgic feeling, like especially when they talk about like, you know, becoming a mom and dad one day, and those scenes when you're in the car with your friends listening to music, and like, I don't know, it just gives me this feeling. And then there's like, I don't know, I think the character development and the plot, the storyline is just so well done in the sense that like it gives you like everything gets better in the end, like even if you can't see it, like you get to a good place, even if you go through all of that. But yeah, I would give it a 10, 100%. And the way it was cast, like with the actors, everything, 100%. 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I think I kind of do the same. Like, I just can't really find anything wrong with it. Like, casting, brilliant. I thought it was shot so well. Story, like everything, character development, like costume. I think I'd give it like a 9.
Yeah.
I think, like you were saying, it was a bit slow at the start, which sometimes can be kind of annoying. But I suppose it kind of worked with the rest of the story. Then, yeah, I'd give it a 9.
I give it a 10 now.
Yeah.
I give it 11. You know, like
Yeah.
it's absolutely
It's great.
perfect. Like I think every time I watch that film, I can never really like pull it together and kind of like see all the way to the end. So every time I see it, I think I am
Notice something new.
new. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just like
Definitely, I'm the same.
Yeah, and I just like I think it is complicated, but in a good way. And like
Yeah,
it can kind of catch you off guard and just show you something you weren't expecting. Like
definitely.
I think it is really
Yeah.
pretty underrated, I think, at the same time. But I think it is
Definitely.
definitely get into the book at some stage.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of the movies as well that, like, I don't know what it is, or this is just my personal opinion, and I've watched it so many times that, like, I can't pinpoint anything that I feel like could have been done differently or could have been done better. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's so well done, like.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
We'll wrap up this podcast. Thanks for following, and we'll catch you in the future.
Push that like button.
Like and subscribe.